You here. Today you are speaking about data strategy for agentic AI, what leaders need to know about build, buy, or wait. So in this talk, you're going to be talking to us about AI agents, effectiveness of them, how do they integrate into your strategy, and those three strategic paths, building, buying, or maybe you need to just wait in your company. So about Vipin, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly,
Yeah.
uh, an IEEE senior member, distinguished fellow with over 21 years of experience in enterprise cloud platforms, machine learning, AI systems, a senior lead architect at data and ML at Picaro. You're designing data cloud solutions, machine learning, and AI analytics systems, environmental monitoring. We are extremely excited to have you here. Your careers is very impressive. I'll be honest. Amazon, Intel Corporation, Arisen Technologies. I mean, seriously, very impressive resume, and we are very grateful to have you here.
Yeah. Thanks, Selena. First of all, good morning. It's my honor to be here. I'm really excited to talk about, my learnings around how to build this data strategy for agentic AI in terms of, choosing build, buy, and wait. So just brief about myself. I have around 2 decades of experience in software covering multiple areas from project planning, designing, executing, commercializing, customer and vendor management. Throughout my career, I played multiple technical roles, which kind of helped me broaden my spectrum in terms of building customer and enterprise data platform. And I mean everything you talk about, from data ingestion to storage to processing, cataloging, all the way the ML and the AI layer. And today, I want to talk about something that honestly, I think is one of the most important decision organizations are facing right now when it comes to AI, which is all about data strategy for agentic AI. And especially, the decisions like, whether you should build, whether you should buy. And this is one where kind of people forget, should you wait? So kind of let's dive in.
Sure.
So let's focus on a little bit on before jumping into the strategy part, like why this matters, right? Uh, so over the last 2 3 years, right, I've been observing a pattern. You go to any conference, any tech talk, any vendor or customer meeting, or even you sit down with the executive being part of the boardroom. Everyone is talking about AI solution, and look, this is fundamentally a good thing, right? Because uh, these decisions, right, this solution are helping organization to bring timely, trusted, and actionable data into this decision making. Uh, Everybody wants AI, woven into their key decision making process, and that's a vision. But there is a hard reality. Uh, I think there is some study from Gartner, like 80% of the AI project are failing,
Mm-hmm.
and failing not because of poor model. They're failing because of the bad. I mean, they're not failing because of the bad algorithm. They're failing because of the data, and the data wasn't sometime ready. The infrastructure wasn't ready. It doesn't give a strong
Mm-hmm.
signal, not contextualize, and that's exactly we need data strategy. And with the helm of agentic AI, where the system don't just analyze data, they act on it.
I
So
agree with you. Also, experiments, and there are many studies, as you mentioned, from Gartner and other institutes. It those AI experiments tend to not deliver results because sometimes they just don't go hand in hand with your strategy.
yes, exactly. Yeah. And basically, think like agentic is not just another model that you fine tune and deploy, right? It's kind of fundamentally different. Right now, I see is more like autonomous agent that acts on your data, right? It make decision, it take actions. It doesn't just give you recommendation, right? Traditionally now it actually does the things, and now like at least in in a software, with so many coding agents coming, and I see it's really, really increasing a lot of productivity. But then decision is still, that also should be part of data study, but then decision is still the same, whether you should build, buy, or, wait for it. And these agents need, real-time access. They need context and memory, tool integration, governance at scale. I just want to spend a little bit time here, because what I learned is, people underestimate how complex this actually is. A lot of people say I need an AI solution, but building an AI solution is not as simple it sounds, right? And like it's a here is a high level overview. I don't want to go into nitty-gritty of the architecture, but just a glimpse of it, right? To build an AI solution, you need ingestion layer, you need storage, you need processing, you need cataloging, you need access, and at the end you need an AI layer, right? And all, and every single of this component requires its own build versus buy decision. You can't just say, we are going to build everything or we're going to buy everything. It doesn't work like that. So how do you decide? And this is, we're going to cover in my next slide. Now coming to the strategy part, right? Now you got three options, and I want to be really clear about each one, right? So let's talk about the first one is the build. What it means, right? It's me all about creating custom solution in house, your team, your code, your ownership, and this is when best, when something is a core differentiator, right? Like for example, take about a Claude, right? This they are building this because that's their differentiator, right? And when you have a unique requirement that nobody else has, right? When you want a long-term solution, it takes time, definitely, and it need investment also. Then you have an option for buy, which is all about purchase proven solution from vendor. And this is best when you need speed when proven solution already exists. For example, in particular organization, let's talk about, if we need a coding agent, instead of building it, there are already proven solution like a cursor or cloud when anybody can buy it, right? So that's a good signal that you should focus on the buy. And then there is a wait, and honestly, I feel this is the one that people forget, but it's often the smartest decision. So wait is more when the market is consolidating, when better options are coming in 6 to 12 months, when kind of organization are not ready for it, right? So better you wait for it. Oh, maybe I didn't turn on. Maybe better you wait for it, right? Especially in the agentic AI right now, the space is moving so fast, right? Every day, yesterday was different, today is different, and tomorrow is going to be different. So sometime waiting 6 months save, 2 years of plan and migration.
It does make sense. I find you need a mix. Building something very custom, buying tends to be out of the box solutions tend to be often generic, but they do give value, quite a bit of value. And I agree with you. Many companies forget to just wait. For
Yeah,
certain use cases, maybe you just wait it out and you see how it goes.
yeah, I completely agree with you. Now coming to like I know as part of data strategy towards all this, there are multiple dimensions, but in my experience, these are the five critical dimensions you need to think about when making this decision. First is the readiness, right? Can you actually do this, right? As an organization, can you really pull this off, right? And I'm going to talk a little bit in detail. Do you have the right team? Then the second come is a cost. What's the real 3 to 5 year cost look like? And especially building agentic AI, I know one is a tech part of it, one's a cost. The cost is going to be huge. Then there's a regulatory compliance, right? What compliance requirement do you have to meet? The fourth is the strategic. Is this where you compete? Like, is this your differentiator? Like, if you really want to become, let's say, an LLM agent, right? And you think, are you building AI solution to help the business, or are you help, or is it actually your business, right? That's what I mean, the strategic. And then you have a market dynamics. What's available out there? How fast you want it to move? And each of this kind of really help you to fine tune in terms of decision making, whether you want to build, buy or wait? I think this is one of my favorite, the readiness, uh, which is the first dimension. And basically, this is asking, can your organization actually pull this off? Ask, yourself, like, do you have the, right set of team structure? Let's say you want to build in a solution, you need ML engineer, data engineer, SRE. Is your data infrastructure structure kind of mature? Have you shipped AI project, right? A lot of time it tends to be, oh, I want to have an AI solution. You start building a POC, but finally you turns out it doesn't go into your production, right? So have you kind of experience in shipping those AI project? And if you got a strong ML and data team, if your data platform is mature and well governed, if you kind of got a proven track record of shipping, and that's kind of buy signal. But if you're limited on AI and ML talent, your data maturity is still at early stage. So yeah, let's not boil the ocean. So that's more like a buy signal. And then there is a wait signal. Your team is transition. You're hiring right now. You're building your strategy, and you have like 6 to 12 months from being ready. That's a wait, and especially this way is very high. Because honestly, if you cannot execute, nothing else matter, right? You, in a sense, like you might have the best strategy in the world, but if you don't have the team to pull it off, it's not it's nowhere you can take it off. So second is again the regulatory, and this is where I have a deep experience also. So sorry, the sorry, this is the second total cost. So uh, and this is basically emphasizing the world total, right? What's a real 3 to 5 year picture look like? Because here is the mistake I see people make all the time. They look only the 1 year. They don't, I mean, in the sense they say, oh, upfront investment versus subscription, but that's not the full picture. Uh, they're kind of hidden cost, right? Their costs around maintenance, upgrades, talent retention, integration work. So if you're building, let's say, operating a massive scale like 10 million plus transaction, and you absorb the upfront capex, a build can make more economical sense long term. But if your workloads are variable, think like if my organization want to use a coding agent, right? And it's more like a subscription, and my workload is on and off, like in night I don't use it, on weekend I do use it. So better there is a strong signal to kind of buy it. And then there is a weight signal also, which is like if there is a pricing war happening in the market right now, if the costs are dropping, sometimes, waiting means much more better unit economics. So it's weight around, I would say, medium to high. Then, the third dimension is more about the regulatory, which I will pretty much heavy experience into this domain from my past and the current company. So, what are your compliance requirement? And this one, as a deal breaker, sometimes you have no choice. Like if you are strict data residency mandate, if handling sensitive PI or PHI, if you have custom audit requirement, think like healthcare,
Mhm.
financial, government.
Financial banks, we have to make sure that we are staying compliant and lots of regulatory requirements.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And there you don't have a choice. You have to build those AI solution because you cannot send the data, from your cloud to or maybe to a third party vendor.
Yep.
And and if you're like, let's say, a standard compliant like a SOC to GDPR is
Mhm.
sufficient. If vendor meet those requirement, buying works fine. and and then there's an interesting weight signal also. If the regulation themselves are unclear right now, right? Especially like the EU AI Act, right? I know it's clear, but it's still there is a discrepancy or maybe a lot of more grooming over there. So if industry standards still forming, then this kind of gives signal that better to wait rather than buy or build. Which is the fourth is all about strategic, and honestly this is a kind of big one. Is this where you compete? Is data actually your product, your secret sauce? Does it give you an edge over competition? If let's say competition buy the same tool, does it hurt you? So when your data is your product, like think like it's a Netflix, right? Or your recommendation is engine what makes your Netflix. You just don't buy, that off the shelf. when you need something unique that nobody else.
Mm.
And when this is a more like a your core differentiator, right? The thing that make customer choose you. So that's give you a very strong build signal. And then on the buy, right? When AI just, as I mentioned, when AI is just helping you in your business, that's not the business. Like HR system, assuming you have an AI solution which screen the resume and just rank the candidate on the stack, right? Then maybe you better buy it, those solutions. And then there's a wait also when your company's strategy is not clear, kind of leadership hasn't decided yet, and maybe it could be possible that this is not your top priority. You have bigger fires to fight. And maybe you can start with a small pilot first, but then you learn it and then decide it, right? So overall, this dimension is very critical. Get this wrong, you can either waste money building something you kind of should not have bought, or you should give away your competitive edge to a vendor. And the last is the market dynamics, which is more about what's available out there and how fast you need to move. And this one kind of combines the two things, the vendor ecosystem and your time pressure. If no good vendor exists for use case, if you have truly, really, really unique requirement, if you can wait for 12 to 24 months for more like a custom solution, build making more sense. But if there is a more mature vendor ecosystem, right, maybe a battle tested solution that already work, then better buy it. And here what makes weight become more important. If your market is consolidating right now, let's say you're building a maybe like a agentic rack solution, and the market is consolidating. If there are new entrant are disrupting the space around context engineering, so matter you kind of wait for 6 to 12 months to evolve it. And this is just a crux of my 2 decades of experience, what I learned across all these organizations. you know, in a sense, even right now, the organization, or at least they don't pick just one solution. They do all three, build, buy, and wait, and just for different things. So buy the more like a boring stuff, like, cloud, AWS, basic AI platform, security tool, standard integration. I feel don't waste time reinventing the wheel, and focus on build what makes you special, your data pipeline, your custom models, your custom agent, and your secret sauce, like more like a domain expertise which people cannot, like, which makes you really, really a good differentiator, right? And then you wait on the kind of, I would say, the new shiny stuff, right? Like a agentic platform, let's say the CrewEye or LangChain, agent orchestration, multi-agent system, inter-specific AI. Somebody say, oh, I have a AI solution which can orchestrate a complete workflow. Oh, okay, that looks shiny. Okay, wait for it. Rather, you spend time and resources to build it. And overall, this really helped you to move fast, right? You making you stand out. And also it's more like you are not wasting a lot of money because, on this risky stuff like this, or I would say the shiny. So it's bringing the best of all the worlds. So kind of before we wrap up, like, let me some share some common mistakes, that I've learned the hard way. First is more like a building everything from scratch, right? We are not Google, I mean, unless you are, in which case, but for the rest of us, buy the foundation and build the differentiation, right? Uh, and the second is more about like building too early when the market is immature, right? Like, okay, thinking, oh, I'm going to build a solution which is going to maintain the complete data platform around ingestion, storage, and the market is still evolving. So, too early buying, when the market is still immature. Uh, and then I feel, when you're only looking at a 1 year cost, right? Build cost compound, but it's what, right? Most cost can too, so better think in more holistic. We have 3 to 5 years for a TCO. And the last, I feel, maybe in terms of consolidating is uh, a lot of time we just focus on build and buy. We never look into is do we need to wait as a valid option, right? And this is a big one. And I feel, uh, the last one I feel is treating all the component at the same. Each layer of your stack needs its own build and buy and wait analysis, right? What may be right for your ingestion might not be right for your complete AI, right?